Pacelli and Boomer, they're grizzled and gray, talking about Star Wars from back in the day. Got a talk show called Geeky Geezers, it's true, spinning old tales about the stuff they went through. From Atari to Trek, they know every line. Geeky Geezers, man, they're feeling just fine. Pacelli's got a lightsaber, swings it with pride. Boomer's got a game but plays it deep in the night. They're ranting about He-Man and old X-Men too. On Geeky Geezers, they're the nerdiest crew, talking Transformers toys that twist and they turn, singing blues for the geek life, their hearts still burn. Oh, Geeky Geezers, they're living the dream, talking comics and movies, they're busting the scenes. From Battlestar reruns to D&D lore, they're preaching the gospel of geek evermore. Pacelli and Boomer, they'll never grow old. Geeky Geezers with hearts made of gold. They're sitting in the studio, mics turned up loud, reminiscing about Super Friends, feeling so proud. Pacelli loves Spider-Man, Boomer's for Hulk. They argue about Star Trek with passion and both. From Betamax tapes to their old D20s, Geeky Geezers where the nostalgia flows. They got fans in the chat from the young to the old, tuning in to hear stories that never get told. Talking Ghostbusters, proton packs, toys in the box, and Saturday mornings with cartoons that rocks. Pacelli and Boomer, they're keeping it real. Geeky Geezers with that old school feel. Oh, Geeky Geezers, they're living the dream, talking comics and movies, they're busting the scenes. From Battlestar reruns to D&D lore, they're preaching the gospel of geek evermore. Pacelli and Boomer, they'll never grow old. Geeky Geezers with hearts made of gold. They're singing the blues for the games that they play, for the VHS tapes and the arcades that pray. But the spirits are young, though their hair's turning white. Geeky Geezers keep the nerd fire alight, so tune in each week to the Geeky Geezers show, where Pacelli and Boomer let the good times flow. From X-Files to X-Men, they're dropping the news, singing praises of geek life with them old blues. Pacelli and Boomer, forever they'll be. Geeky Geezers living wild and free.
So, some of you may have tuned in for the official pre-show of Geeky Geezers, and that would be unscripted with deleted scenes. But I would just want to say on behalf of me and, of course, the other members of the other co-hosts here that we'd like to personally apologize to Mark Ruffalo for those mean comments of deleted scenes. Isn't that right, Troy Netter?
No, absolutely not. If anything, I wish I'd said more. He can Hulk fist himself, sideways. That's how I feel about that guy.
Welcome to Geeky Geezers. I'm your host, Adrian Boomer. This is my co-host, Pacelli.
Hello.
And this is my other co-host, Netter of Netter's Network, also known as the Geezette.
Good
evening.
And here we are to talk about all that's right in the world.
Can we, speaking of all that's right in the world, can we give Netter a chance to thank her patron for the night?
Yes.
Let me bring that up.
Yes, I would love to thank Ruby Hoog for my gifty.
That went to Euler Greg 936. Well, it's Euler Greg. We know that's Euler Greg. Good to see you, Euler Greg. And what else you already thanked her in the chat. How nice.
I always do that.
And she celebrates 4 months over on Netter's channel.
Yes.
How cool is that, to borrow a phrase from another YouTuber? But there you go. I'm sorry. I just thought that Netter deserved that opportunity. Take it away. It's your show.
Oh no, it is. But I would like to say hello to the Tired Midnight Blogger. I see images of Disney stuff back when Disney was cool. Yes, we are going to get to that.
Yes, but it's not coming really from the studio, is it? No. Well, I don't want to get too far ahead.
It's not that exciting, but it's my show, so I get to do what I want.
That's right. So it's going to be a gaming show. I mean, Geeky Geezers. It's all about the entertainment.
You're the one that started doing the game stuff. I remember early on, because
that's how he says it.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't like we got that much game stuff tonight anyway. We got a Lego set. That's not game related. I mean, it is game related, but then.
True.
I don't know. Deleted scenes, welcome. JPRPH1, welcome. I think I already said that. Netter's Network, welcome. Got a hi, sweetie. Thank you.
I gotta hide to the love of my life. See that? See that?
Yeah, if only I could get a comment from Sophia. With
Well,
similar
you
sentiments.
got to see her disrobed on Friday. You should be happy about
I was a
that.
little disturbed, man. I gotta say, I don't know.
I'm gonna help her set up an only ones and zeros fans.
uh,
Actually, I say that, but I probably actually could do that.
don't you know that's gonna happen at some point? That's
Oh,
gonna
it's
get so
already
big.
happening. It's
They're gonna have
from
guys forking over their hard-earned money to women that don't
we
exist. That's
did an
what's gonna
article
happen.
about that,
That's right.
about
Yes.
artificially made you know, adult content AI things.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Hold on tight. It's time for the Geeky Geezers. Hello, Age Boomer and Troy Pacelli. Well, welcome to Penzac.
Did we say hi to Jesse Guajardo?
I think we did. Jesse Garda, welcome though. I didn't say hi to you already. Welcome. And Lynn Green,
And
welcome.
there's Lynn Green. She's disturbed. Is she disturbed by the only ones and zeros fans? I don't blame you for that.
Disturbed that Mark Ruffalo still has a career. He
He
was good in Zodiac.
Good. He is not that good. I mean, when I saw him in that first movie where he played the first Avengers movie where he played the Banner and the Hulk, I was
You're
like,
wondering where? You're wondering where
no,
was
yeah, I did. I would have preferred.
Where's Edward
to get,
Norton?
Yeah, I would have preferred Edward Norton back. But I'm sitting here going, he looks okay. He's fine. I guess the character is pretty good. But no, man. Not to mention that every iteration of him since then has not been the Hulk. So
You know what I didn't understand? If they weren't going to go with Norton again, why did they bring back Eric Bana? I thought Eric Bana was good as Bruce Banner. I mean, I don't know. Did you like him as Bruce Banner? Eric Bana?
Did I like Eric Bana? I gotta with that movie. I can't. I don't remember having a problem with it at the time.
I was fine with it, but I know some hardcore comments that they messed with the mythology a little bit. But
unfortunately, some of that mythology already worked its way into the actual story. I'm going to have to go back and look at it again because it all some things pretty good. I don't know. I'll have to look back at it. Let's bring this up another time. Let's bring this up when we do a Hulk centered stream.
that might be
Maybe we should do a Friday night Hulk centered stream and see if we can't get Tony Roberts from Analog Toys.
I like that idea. Keep that in the backboard. Okay, keep it tuned, Link Green.
Okay,
We'll talk about the Hulk movies, the old Hulk TV show. There's a lot to talk
and
about.
Maybe Lynn Green would like to join us too. Another green person.
Yes.
I'm just playing.
Yeah, but no, we'll talk about that another time. We should bring up our presentation. Oh wait, who's that? Susan.
Suzanne, welcome. She says, I've not been able to chat here or at Netters. I just reported it for your chat and they fixed it. Okay. Can you, I'd like to know more about that, Suzanne. I'd like to know what kind of a problem you're having. And chat is probably not the best way to do it because you're so limited in how much you could say. Would you be willing to drop me an email? You should be able to get my email from my, YouTube page, but it's troy.pacelli@yahoo.com.
Or DM on X.
Well, I don't know if Suzanne's on X or not, but send me an email. I'd like to know the details about that, and including what you did to get it fixed and whether or not indeed it was fixed. Where are you chatting on right now? Are you on my channel? She's on your channel.
Suzanne, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's on mine.
Okay, she's on Netters. Okay. So let us know about that. I'd like to know more about that. Lynn's really good at keeping me apprised of problems like this too. Finished Batman Resurrection. Is that the new one? Oh no, that's the old one. Okay, you finished Resurrection. Waiting to start Revolution. I just started it until after the book arriving at the store on Tuesday. New Dresden Files. Yeah, you're kind of mixing your intake there, but yeah, as soon as I finish Revelation, I will plan another Batman 89 stream for a Friday.
So we should
Get
Get
to
into it.
the presentation. Yeah, let's get to it. And I will
Geeky
get up my
Geezers.
notes.
Do I have the right date? That's good. It's always good the right date. And we're going to move into our, what do we like to talk about here?
The good old days.
Yeah.
Tell me about the good old days.
Dilbert.
Yeah, good stuff.
I remember Dilbert. This was a one of the regular comic strips in Sunday paper, also in weeklies, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but this was one of the very few that sometimes I would read it and it would be so poignant to me I would want to cut it out and hang it. This was back when I was working in a cubicle.
Yes.
So let me launch into what I had written up here. Dilbert launched in 1989. It was one of the first comic strips to portray real people, situations, and conversations in an office environment. Just for context, The Office UK first aired in 2001, and the US version was some years later. But again, we're talking about a comic. The reason I mentioned The Office is because The Office is that similar kind of humor and setting and so forth. Anyway, it depicted humorous workplace situations with which everyday people could identify. Typically, management blundering along, taking advantage of its underappreciated and misunderstood workers. There was nothing like it in American newspapers, comic pages when it was introduced. Most comics usually provided a good laugh, but there were only a few that reflected real life situations. Then came Dilbert. There was a particular Dilbert strip that both illustrates, that completely illustrates what I'm talking about. In 1997, no, I'm sorry. Forget that. In the mid-1990s, Sioux Falls and South Dakota had engineered a major corporate recruitment of an out-of-state business that stunned those who watched such things. Citibank of New York decided to move its credit card business from New York City to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. They built a building in Sioux Falls, transferred a few hundred employees from Sioux Falls to Sioux Falls from New York, and hired more people locally. The lure was a state law in South Dakota that left credit card interest rates unregulated. Whether the rate of the card, whatever rate the card provider wanted to charge could be charged. And if that wasn't enough, there was a bonus for coming to South Dakota. It was then and is now one of the handful of states, there's currently 9, that does not have an income tax. For Scott Adams, the situation probably was the stuff of which his dreams were made. A Dilbert comic strip theme basically gifted to him by a true story in South Dakota. He could tell a story and jump to the punchline all in 3 panels of the Dilbert strip. In the first panel, Dilbert is talking with one of his coworkers. There's a rumor the company is moving to South Dakota for tax reasons. In the second panel, the coworker replies, "Do you seriously think they would disrupt the lives of thousands of employees just to save money on taxes?" In the third panel, Dilbert answers, "I think they'd kill us in our sleep and sell our organs if the return on investment was good." Dilbert, like all newspaper comics, was represented by a syndicate, which in turn sold the strip to individual newspapers for publication. In its peak, Dilbert appeared in more than 2,000 newspapers, and the annual revenue it produced for the syndicate and the creator would have been 7 figures after the dollar sign. So one of my favorite Dilbert comics was one where Dilbert is, let me see if I actually have it up. Yes. So Dilbert is a secondary character. The first panel is a manager talking to an employee sitting at his desk. He's in a call center. And the manager says, "Carl, reduce your average call time or you'll be history. At that very moment, Dilbert is calling in. The employee answers, what? And Dilbert says, I have a question about your product. Faster, faster, faster. It's about the interface. Great, thanks. Click. Then the manager comes over. Your average call time is way down. You get a bonus. And he's smiling with an evil smile, and he takes the bonus check, and his thought bubble says, maybe it was a mistake to do this job while I study for the priesthood.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
But this one was my favorite. I love this one, and I literally had that hanging in my cube when I was working at the last job that I oftentimes tell you about. You know, that Neder and I were laid off just before the coof, and I shared this with my manager one time when, you know, we were having that meeting about stats and stuff like that. And I'm like, really? You think my call times are too long? And I just slid the comic strip over to him, and he looks and he goes, yeah, I see your point. He was one of the people that would come with us on Fridays to drink after the stream.
I like this one. Starting today, all passwords must contain letters, numbers, doodles, sign language, and squirrel noises. There's nothing that drives me crazy than work passwords at this point, because it just keeps getting worse. Because it's like, I'm going to start writing a full-length Greek poem at the rate we're going for a password. You know, it's like,
No, I absolutely agree.
But what am I going to do here, though? We have, I don't know, I remember Dilbert back in the day. You need to simplify that slide. Did you understand it? Yes. Then why do you think smart people will be confused? I can't tell if that was an insult. Ask a smart person. You see, that's so. Is this basically what cubicle life is like, though? That's what I get the impression from Dilbert. Like, this is all like it's like how Spinal Tap makes fun of
freaking
music.
spot on.
Yes.
I mean, there were strips that were I could hold it up to my real life and go, yep, this has happened to me, or I could see this happening. This manager is this manager that I'm working for, right?
Yeah, it's like the password thing. It used to be letters and numbers. Then it was letters and numbers, but you had to have 8 digits or 8 characters.
Yep.
Then it was you have to have a capital letter somewhere in there, small letters, numbers, and a special character. And now it's 10 characters long. I think there's one password I had where it had to be something like 15 characters long. So I'm like, I'm never going to remember that.
Well, then there's software updates, right? Dilbert's sitting at a meeting. He doesn't actually speak in this one. Guy's sitting in the middle, and the manager's next to him. He says, every time I update my software, it tells me I have to reboot. And every time I reboot, I get another message to update something else. It's all I've been doing since October. The manager says, but you worked in September, right? He said, I admire your optimism about the past.
Passwords, letters, numbers, special characters. And I'm not surprised that we don't have squirrel noises.
Yes. But by the way, I remember I was at work, and I guess there was a current thing going on in the Dilbert strip where he got let go due to downsizing, right? And he lost his job. So while he's not working for the company anymore, he comes up with this dating like website or whatever that basically would match men and women based on their search engine searches, right? Like
right.
You know, it was like this big thing, and of course it actually starts to take off. And then his prior boss, this guy here, is like, "Wait a minute, how could he have this?" And he's getting all angry. He's like, "You know what? I bet he worked on that while he worked for us, and we're going to take him to court and all this, and it's going to be this long, dragged out thing." And then Dilbert says, "Or you could just hire me back." and then you get to keep it. And they hired him back after that. It's just like.
So there was another character. So you see Dilbert there with Dogbert, and Dogbert was teaching a lesson. He said, "Welcome to Dogbert's School of Time Management. Today you will learn that rudeness and good time management are the same thing."
Rudeness and good time management are the same thing. I know that there's Dogbert right there. But
Mhm.
I never understood what you did for a living. I told you I'm an engineer, Mom. So you say, but all you do all day spend in meetings. When do you do any engineering? Good point. Let's just say I'm what experts call a knowledge worker. Which experts call it that? I don't know. What's the name of your product you're working on? I don't know what the acronym stands for. What kind of market penetration and return on investment do you expect? Don't know. Oh dear. Well, I'm sure you're very functional. And ask me another question. Come on. Why do they call you a
Call
knowledge
you a
worker?
knowledge
Yes, it's
worker.
just it's
How about this one? Wally, are you done with your project yet? I'll be done next week. You said next week for 7 weeks in a row. What makes you think I'm going to believe it this time? The first 6 times?
funny, funny. But yeah, Dogbert. He was, and of course, there was a Dilbert cartoon series.
Yes, there was.
UPN, I believe. Correct. I did watch it when it was on. It was a. I think they were looking for their Simpsons, right? So they decided to make an
Right.
adaptation of Dilbert, and it had 2 seasons. You can catch it on Tubi if you're interested, because
Yeah.
everything's on Tubi, right?
Almost all the good stuff is. That's right.
But this was a rather cool cartoon, and it kind of had a season-long arc. It was all about Dilbert being put in charge of the project. What was it, the Grunt Master 6000?
Oh, yeah.
The guy running the company, he said, this manager says, all right, first we have to name the product, but don't we have to come up with the product first? and
Yeah.
and then he says, guess what, Dilbert, you're in charge of the product. So then he had to come up with a name, and it was this whole horrid thing where they were just I don't know. It's funny. It was a funny cartoon show, but it only lasted 2 seasons though. But of course, I think UPN only lasted a short while anyway, right?
That's true. It didn't last very long.
But remember Star Trek Voyager and Dilbert? Those were the big shows on UPN. I'm sure there were others, but
Well, I liked Dilbert. Dilbert was great slice of life stuff. It really was.
it was. I mean, The Office sort of goes into this, except this is more like a guy that's too smart for his job, or he's in the wrong position. He's an engineer, and they keep sticking him in all these.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, this was a classic comic strip. Dogbert's pretty evil though, right? As I recall. But Captain's the worst, right?
Well, what you're showing right now, sitting behind him on his mother's couch, that's Dogbert. The other one was another dog. I forget.
And then there's Ratbert, right?
Right. There's Ratbert.
I was watching the cartoon. Ratbert's in the bathroom brushing his teeth, and he's like, "Shut the door!" And he's like, "Wait a minute, I live here." And he opens the door back up, and he says, "Ratbert, when did you get a toothbrush? When do you think I got a toothbrush?" And it's Dilbert's toothbrush.
Of course.
And all I know is I think Capert was the third one, who I think almost looked like a devil, right? He was like demonic looking, and just I don't know. I missed this though, but let me read some of the comments here. I think we have some Dilbert fans in here. Let me see here.
Tired Midnight Blogger says Dogbert, the evil HR. Only unrealistic thing about him was he was a dog. He wasn't quite evil enough to really be HR. Yeah, there you go.
Sure, I remember there being a cartoon for Dilbert. Yeah, like I said, you can catch it on Tubi if you're interested. So
yeah,
it's either Pluto or Tubi. You know, Pluto has TNG now. Watch all the seasons of TNT on Pluto and the X-Files. They put TNG and the X-Files on Pluto. Yeah, but let me see here. Yeah, we're getting a lot of rest in pieces because you guys know what's coming.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but a classic comic.
Using something happy. Because now you have to go into something.
That's correct. Yes.
It's more like I try to come up with good old days that reflect. If I can, I'll try to find something that reflects the story of the news. And when, of course, I saw Scott Adams passed away, I'm like, well, this just makes perfect sense to do Dilbert. And like I said, Troy's more familiar than I am, but I would read Dilbert, and I loved the cartoon when it was on. So.
Yeah.
But underrated primetime cartoon. I wish it had stayed on longer, but oh well.
Yep.
But yeah, unfortunately, Scott Adams dead at 68. Remember the life, legacy, and creative genius of Dilbert creator.
So if you don't mind, before we get too far into this,
Sure.
let me. I'm doing something I don't normally do on a Geeky Geezer stream. I'm going on
Go ahead.
camera because I think we need to have. Adams had a podcast. I didn't follow it regularly, but he had this. He'd always open it up with something he called the Simultaneous Sip, which I can really appreciate. It would be very much on brand for me. So here and I basically wrote out exactly what he used to say. So the simultaneous sip. All you need is a cup, a mug, or a glass, a tankard, chalice, or stein, a canteen, jug, or flask, a vessel of any kind. Fill it with your favorite liquid. Scott Adams liked coffee. And join me now for the unparalleled pleasure, a dopamine hit of the day, the thing that makes everything better. And I say, salute.
Salute. Oh, but yeah. Rest in peace. It was pretty bad. I know a few weeks ago he had, I think, come out that he had prostate cancer. Is that right?
Yes, he had been battling it. He knew it was coming. It even gave him an opportunity to record a final message.
Yeah.
So
this from WW Pro, that Park
Yep.
Place, right?
Yep.
That's the same thing. Yeah. The world has lost one of its most influential and unconventional creative voices. Scott Adams, the cartoonist behind the globally beloved comic strip Dilbert, has died at the age of 68 after a battle with aggressive prostate cancer. The news was confirmed Tuesday during a live stream of his YouTube show, Real Coffee with Scott Adams, by his ex-wife, Shelley Miles. For more than 3 decades, Scott Adams was a defining voice of modern workplace satire. Through the dry, often painfully accurate humor of Dilbert, Adams captured the absurdities of corporate life in a way that resonated with billions around the world. His death marks the end of a creative era that shaped how an entire generation laughed at office culture and, in many cases, survived it. During the live stream announcing his passing, Miles read a final message written by Adams, offering one last glimpse into the mind and heart of the artist who had spent his life trying to be useful to others. In that message, Adams reflected on his journey and expressed deep gratitude for the life he was given, writing that he had lived an amazing life and had given it everything he had. He urged people to be useful and closed with the words, "Please know that I loved you all to the very end." It was a fitting farewell for a man who always believed in the purpose of creativity was to serve others, to bring insight, laughter, and maybe even a little wisdom along the way. In May of last year, Adams revealed that he had been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer that had spread to his bones.
Yeah.
That's awful.
People don't realize that's incredibly painful.
Yeah, it sounds horrible. He spoke openly about the illness on his show, choosing candor over silence, and continued working and communicating with his audience even as his health declined. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the gravity of his condition, Adams continued creating content, communicating with fans, and speaking openly about his death, maintaining the same direct, candid style that defined both his work and his personality. A cultural icon through Dilbert. Dilbert first debuted in 1989 and quickly became one of the most widely read comic strips of the world. By skewering incompetent managers, bureaucratic madness, and soul-crushing corporate culture, Scott Adams tapped into a shared experience that spanned industries, generations, and national borders. For decades, the strip ran in hundreds of newspapers, becoming a daily ritual for office workers everywhere. Adams didn't just make people laugh; he made them feel seen. Later in life, Adams expanded beyond cartoons, becoming an author and commentator, writing books he believed could help people think more clearly and live more effectively. In his final message, he described this evolution, saying that he had shifted from focusing on being a good husband and parent to donating himself to the world by writing books he believed were useful. President Trump was among those who paid tribute to Adams following his death, calling him a fantastic guy who liked and respected me when it wasn't fashionable to do so. In a longer statement, Trump added that Adams bravely fought a long battle against a terrible disease and offered condolences to his family, friends, and listeners, saying he would be truly missed. There is no denying the cultural impact that Scott Adams had. Few artists ever created something that becomes part of daily lives. Millions, even fewer, sustain that relevance for decades.
Yeah, just the idea that there's at least one, that first one that I shared about, that I literally had clipped, and had hanging up on my. There's no other comic strip that was, that has that distinction. That I still have that clip. So, yeah.
Oh,
Red Midnight Blogger says I lift a bottle of Mike's Hard Lemonade in his honor. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's just rest in peace. And I don't know if you want to read the last bit of this.
I don't have my notes up. Go ahead and
skip
read
it, I guess. I mean, it just says in 2020, Dilbert was dropped from most major news profiling and controversial remarks made by Adams, leading to the law.
I would say that I would like to respond to that since he's not here to do so himself in his own words. This is from his webpage. Why did Dilbert get canceled? If you believe the news, it's because I'm a big old racist. Context. No news about public figures is ever true and in context. Never. Full stop. Full stop, I added. If you look into the context, the point that got me canceled is that CRT, DEI, and ESG all have in common the framing that white Americans are historically the oppressors and black Americans have been oppressed, and it continues to this day. I recommend staying away from any group of Americans that identifies your group as the bad guys, because that puts a target on your back. I was speaking hyperbolically, of course, because we Americans don't have an option of staying away from each other. But it did get a lot of attention, as I'd hope, more than I had planned, actually. Thing to keep in mind that he was a bit of a satirist. He was a big thinker, so he would say things to make you think. And of course, dumb people aren't real good at thinking.
Well,
so they have a hard time understanding the context of what someone
He was
said.
also a creative that was right of center, so they were looking for a reason to cancel him.
Absolutely.
They were looking for anything. That's what was going on there.
And this happens to it happens to anybody who the certain group wants to denigrate, but white males are the easiest target right now, right?
Well, we'll see if that
white
changes.
White females, not so much if they happen to be, at a protest, trying to murder, law enforcement agents.
You know what's interesting though? I was watching a video earlier, and it did feature. There's a YouTuber I like to watch, a black YouTuber, as it were. He had this woman on that he was referring to, and she was saying that she's tired of white liberals always seeing her and her people as victims and all this other stuff. We're not. Leave us alone. That's what she said. So, and I think that.
Who warned everybody about the white liberal back in the 60s? Malcolm X. Maybe check out what some of these great speakers said, but people that didn't learn their history are destined to repeat it.
And Geek Flag says, I read the comment he made when it came out, and I didn't get all bent out of shape. Thank you, Geek Flag. Your perspective on this is great. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to rest in peace, Scott Adams, and read Dilbert. It's granted
there's a lot of books out there. You could probably find them, secondhand, relatively easily. I think I actually have some on the bookshelf upstairs. I wouldn't be surprised.
And like I said, the cartoon is on Tubi as well, so you can check that out as well. Everything's on Tubi.
Okay,
speaking of cartoons,
great Disney characters. What's up with these guys?
All right, so I want to say this is a boomer eccentricity. So
sure,
okay, but I'll go ahead and read this. For those of you who have a Nintendo Switch or Nintendo Switch 2, and you wanted to get the Disney Afternoon Collection, but were wondering, why isn't the Disney Afternoon Collection on this console? And some of you may be wondering, what the heck is the Disney Afternoon Collection? Okay, let's get into it. Digital Clips has done some pretty stellar compilations over the years, but one of its most overlooked efforts came in 2017 with the Disney Afternoon Collection. Originally available on the PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, this compilation has now been rated by the ESRB for the Switch and Switch 2. Though when we can expect to see it launch is anybody's guess. The rating itself is attached to Atari, which, as you'll no doubt be aware of at this point, wholly owns Digital Eclipse as a subsidiary. The Disney Afternoon Collection contains a total of 6 games for the NES. And yeah, so why is it taking this long to come out for the Switch is beyond us, including, this includes DuckTales, Chippendale Rescue Rangers, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, DuckTales 2, Chippendale Rescue Rangers 2. Our pals over at Push Square gave the compilation a score of 8 out of 10 back in 2017, saying the production values and accuracy of these emulations are second to none, while noting that rewind features and art galleries made it an essential purchase. So I'll try to explain to you what these games are. On the old Nintendo, you had a company named Capcom. They're famous for making Street Fighter 2 and Resident Evil, but they also, before that, they made the Mega Man games on the NES. But then they got their hands on some Disney licenses. And these are based on all those Disney afternoon shows, the like DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, Chippendale Rescue Rangers. And these are highly acclaimed NES games from back in the day. People like them a lot. The trouble is, though, we never saw them for years because, of course, Disney license, right? People don't want to re-release a game they got to pay Disney money for, or Disney won't let them release it. But then years ago, they actually released an entire collection of all the Disney NES games that we're doing with this license. But for some reason, it only came out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox because I think the Switch hadn't quite come out yet. Or maybe they weren't sure if the Switch was going to be a success, so they didn't bother bringing this collection out on the Switch. And I thought because of that, we're never going to see it, because I think they probably reached an agreement with Disney, and the agreement with Disney was for Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation, and nothing else. But now it seems that these games are going to come out on the Switch, so I just think that's neat.
Agreed.
Okay, so I already have these collections on the Xbox and the PlayStation, and maybe when they go on sale, I'll pick them up on the Switch, because I like to play DuckTales. And it's funny, in the DuckTales game on the NES, though, he's not wearing the blue outfit, he's wearing the red outfit, which is from the comics. Isn't that interesting?
Ah, okay.
Because I think someone over at Capcom got confused, but it was actually considered a very good licensed game. There are a lot of licensed games for the NES. I mean, let me make a caveat here. Back in the day, when you have a licensed video game, sometimes it might mean that game was going to be crap. Like LGN would make an X-Men game LGN made a Silver Surfer game that's supposed to be atrocious. But if a licensed game was good, like the Batman '89 video game for the NES, based on the Batman movie from 1989, that was a really good game. And sometimes you would get these cool licensed games. So it's just neat, though, that they're releasing these so many years later. I didn't think this would ever come out on the Switch. So anyway,
Cool.
it's cool. Tailspin is the weakest of these, of course, though. It's like a shoot 'em up. In fact, all the Tailspin games, for some reason, never turned out well. You would figure it'd be easy, be like making an Indiana Jones game, but okay.
Well, not all Indiana Jones games are made equal either. So
there's some good ones on the PC, right? Or there was a Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade game, and Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, right? Those were two.
Yeah, I heard those were really,
games.
really good. Yeah,
they were point-click games made by Lucasfilm.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny. I was watching a clip from the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade game where you get to go to the final thing where you get to choose the cup. If you choose the wrong cup, it shows Indy like disintegrating into bones and stuff.
Wow. Yeah.
Like you could actually select the wrong cup in the adventure game, which I thought was funny. The latest Legend of Zelda Lego set pays tribute to Ocarina of Time's final battle. You know the Ocarina of Time?
I do. I've played it,
Okay.
but not avidly. I just played it at a friend's house. It was fun.
I
love the idea of time travel and
yes.
how changing something could set something else up for you later on in the game.
Well, I kind of feel that Ganon was playing dirty, so you can play dirty too, with
Yeah.
yeah. But Ganon's, of course, the major villain in Legend of Zelda, and this is the final battle with Ganondorf, or Ganon for short, as we called him in the NES days. But we already knew something Ocarina of Time related was coming from Nintendo and Lego in 2026, and now we know exactly what that set will look like, weighing in a surprisingly modest 1,003 pieces, and typical word salad Lego and the typically word solidly Lego The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time The Final Battle. That's a long title, yes. It's the second Lego Zelda set following the 2,500 piece Great Deku Tree set in 2024. That one looked interesting, but it was rather pricey. It was a lot of money. But you could make it into two different versions of the Deku Tree. You could do it from Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time or Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And you could like redesign the set based on those two games. But while the latter lets you choose between, well, it's already telling me the article. The latter allows you to choose between building either a Breath of the Wild or Ocarina of Time themed replica of the wise old guardian of the forest. The upcoming set is aimed squarely at fans of the series' debut 3D outing. As you could probably guess from the name, it's a brick-built tribute to Link and Princess Zelda's climactic battle with Ganondorf in the seminal Nintendo 64 game, and what remains of the castle. Inside the rubble are the 3 recovery hearts. It's hard to see just how this works without a video, but LEGO says you can release Link's nemesis by pressing a button and raising him from the debris, as well as the minifigures Zelda and Link, complete with his Master Sword and Hylian shield. You also get a suitably transparent Navi to display. Navi was the fairy companion he had in the game. She would always yell at you and say, "Listen!" She would. Anyway, and there's a large posable Ganon, the pig demon version of Ganondorf, which is probably the highlight of the whole set. Interestingly, the new Ocarina of Time set is the first high-profile LEGO announcement since unveiling its new Smart Brick at CES, but it looks like we'll be playing with regular dumb Legos only here. You'll just have to do the final Hyrule saving Haya for yourself, I guess. I'm surprised they didn't do this as a smart Lego set.
Yeah.
Considering that they kind of did smart stuff with the Mario sets that they made. But it'll be $130. You can pre-order it now. Anyway, I don't know. I just think it's neat. It kind of reminds me of the.
Are you planning on picking that up?
I am on the fence. I will probably wait.
Okay.
I may, but I may wait. Maybe I'll wait for a sale. We'll see. It looks nice. They had an event. I like how Link is suspended in the air. They actually had an Avengers Assemble set from the movie Age of Ultron, where you had all the and they're fighting. They're all the Avengers and they're fighting Hydra, and it's sort of like that flat. That part in the movie where it freeze frames and they're all in a. They did a Lego set based on that. That's sort of.
I think Michael French did a video about that.
Yeah. It's kind of neat, yeah. So he might be doing something on this when it comes out too. I know he dabbles in Lego on occasion, but
well, only because it's his go-to for world building that he's not getting from other toy lines. He's talked about that a lot with Indiana Jones, where he points out that they've made some really stupid decisions with the action figures and different scales and not having enough world building. But if you go to Lego you can get all kinds of world building out of Lego. So
if they use a smart brick, it would custom double for what going for. Oh, say it would be more money. You're saying probably.
Yeah, that's probably a good.
You could have cool Legend of Zelda sound effects in there, though.
But he makes an excellent point. There's also the possibility of some custom stuff you could do with it. So
you never know.
We'll see.
Anyway, cool looking set. But the one I'm really waiting on, and I'm waiting for details on, is the X-Files Lego set. That's the one I'm really.
Are they actually working on one?
Oh no, they say it is coming. There is a set. That one they do their Lego Ideas thing each year, and 2-1 and they're going to do 2 sets based on these 2 sets. One was the X-Files, the other is Wallace and Gromit. That was the other one.
Nice.
They're going to do sets on, so I'm kind of curious about the Wallace and Gromit one too. And Chevy Chase is in the news.
Yeah.
You a Chevy Chase fan?
I like some of his movies. I was never a huge fan of him personally,
It's interesting watching people, because I was doing some research on this. Like, Dan Aykroyd still likes him. But he said that Chevy Chase is very... What did he call him? He called him very East Coast wasp. Which, I don't know if that's pejorative, but...
Well, East
like
Coast,
he's from the upper
white Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Yes.
So, it's what we used to just call the average white guy back in the day.
Maybe he comes from, like, old America. I don't know what he is, but he... because they were talking about Nothing But Trouble, that Chevy Chase movie he was in, which I know it made it my 5 worst movies of all time, but for some reason I keep coming back to it. Maybe I don't hate it as much as I think I do. I don't know, but fans are not holding back after clip of Chevy Chase snapping at his doc director goes viral. Chevy Chase, the 82-year-old foundling SNL cast member, has been making headlines as of late due to his new CNN documentary. There have been a plethora of responses to some of the comments he makes within the doc, and they've ranged. Now Chase is drawing fresh criticism after a clip of the production shows him lashing out at the film's director. Fans are not holding back at what they see as the iconic funny man being insufferable. The said moment comes from I'm Chevy Chase and You're Not, which is part of the 2026 TV schedule. The now viral clip captures an early exchange between the actor and director Marina Zinovich and shows the Snow Day star quickly slipping into a dismissive, combative tone. After the footage was shared on TikTok, it spread rapidly across the platform into others like X. Check out the clip below. Yeah, I've seen it on YouTube too as one of the shorts. As can be seen as above, Zinovich tells Chase she's just trying to figure him out. From there, the 80s comedy star immediately responded with sarcasm, cutting her off before the discussion could go any further, saying, no shit, it's not going to be easy for you. When Zinovich asks why, Chevy Chase simply says, "You're not bright enough. How's that?" Zinovich only responded with a stunned "whoa," but Chase wasn't finished. Acknowledging the cameras, he continues, seemingly assuming the exchange wouldn't make the final cut. He followed up with, "Well, you asked. I know you're not going to put that on the air, and I hope not, but my answer is I'm complex, and I'm deep, and I can be hurt easily, and I react spontaneously to people who want to figure me out, as it were. As somebody who will hold up my guard, I'm not going to let anybody figure me out, per se." Did you see this clip at all? Just out of curiosity.
I saw some of it. I didn't watch the whole.
He looked it was kind of nasty, if I'm being honest with you.
Well,
I mean, it's
I'm going to preface this with the fact that, again, this is a celebrity that I only know from his movies and what I've read about him in the trades. So this is not someone I've ever met or that I know personally, but from what I've read, he has been historically very difficult to get along with. And for a long time, a lot of people in Hollywood said that's why you haven't seen him in things since whenever, because he was so difficult to get along with. Honestly, I haven't seen him in much of anything recently, except, little cameos here and there, a commercial or a whatever, where he's reprising his role from the Vacation movies.
The last big thing I saw him on was Community, but that's not really recent at this point. That was from a number of years ago.
Yeah.
And he didn't last on that show. I don't know if there was a falling out with him and the creatives on that or something. Something bad happened there.
Oh, Wallace Lang says, I hear that Chevy Chase and Bill Murray can't stand each other.
Yep.
That is why they won't ever do a movie together. They are both, this I can feel some confidence in saying both of them have very strong personalities. They're probably like ends of a magnet that very much repel each other.
Did Bill Murray come on SNL as Chevy Chase's replacement after Chevy Chase says, "I'm going to go do movies, I'm done with this"?
Oh, that I don't know. That could be.
That could be part
the
of
timeline.
What that is.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, because I think Chevy Chase didn't stay on for more than he might have only been on the first year or two, and then I think Bill Murray came on as the replacement.
Jesse Guajardo says, Troy, the only time I've ever seen Chevy Chase was in a movie where he was an invisible man. Yeah, I believe that was called Diary of an Invisible Man. Or Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
Yeah.
There's another one he did where he had like psychic powers, telekinesis or whatever. And the person that he was interacting with thought he was possessed, so tried restraining him by putting, I don't remember, like salt or something around the bed that he was in, and he just goes around and snorts it up like it's Coke, and he goes, "Ha ha ha! I like it." But it was a cool effect because as I recall, as he leans down to do the snort, he kind of like hovers around the bed to snort up the powder.
This rings a bell. I might have seen this as a small child. I might have seen clips from it or something.
My favorite,
TV,
we actually watched on a members' night at the movie. It was Fletch, which was
Right.
very, very good. I love that one. Excuse me, Miss. Could I borrow your towel? My car just hit a water buffalo.
funny. No, I mean, no, he's definitely been in some funny movies. I just, yeah.
All the vacation movies, you know.
It's
Yeah.
all ball bearings these days.
It's all ball bearings these days. That was from Fletch too. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the comments were, "I'm sorry, but what an insufferable old goat." Yikes. I guess that's right though. Let me see.
Yes, Spies Like Us. That's right. I remember that one too, Wallace. Yeah.
Just imagine how many idiots you need to put up with being in that industry. Can we really blame him? See, you know, that's actually someone defending him.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Apparently, a director of Home Alone couldn't work with Chevy Chase because he was such. That's true. I heard about that. That was Chris Columbus. Because originally John Hughes said, "Will you direct Christmas Vacation?" National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation movie. He said, "I will not work with Chevy Chase." That's why he was shocked when John Hughes called him back, says, "Do you want to do Home Alone?" Because he figured he wasn't gonna, you know, that might have, you know. But he said he just wouldn't work with Chevy Chase. But the reaction ultimately splits into two clear camps. On one side, viewers can see the clip as confirmation that the foreigner community actor crossed the line, and on the other end, longtime fans are seemingly shrugging it off as vintage Chevy Chase. Okay.
It kind of does sound like, Chevy Chase. And look, I don't know what his relationship with this person is. But
she's a Emmy Award winning documentarian, I think. So I'm not. Part of me, I don't think it's her. If I'm giving, I mean, I don't know. I'm not behind the scenes there, but you know, I mean, she said she's trying to figure him out, and that's what the documentarian director is doing.
I gotta say though that from what I know of the current entertainment industry and especially documentarianism, he's probably right on about her lack of perspicacity. He's probably keying into something accurately. Not that I'm defending him, and not that I know the people involved, but he probably has a reason to say what he's saying.
There's apparently more that got revealed by this documentary, though. I'm Chevy Chase. This is from another article. After viral... Okay, she explained why she didn't cut the moment. Okay, I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not documentary... Sorry, put it on. I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not. A documentary that revealed recently hit the 2026 TV schedule offers a look into the life and career of the mind of the eponymous comedian. Warts and all, the doc, directed by Marina Zinovich, has sparked various conversations on social media, and most recently, a number of fans took offense to a clip from the film that showed Chase insulting Zinovich. In the aftermath of the hoopla surrounding Vacation Star's Light, Zinovich herself discussed why she kept that portion in the finished production. Let me see what she said. I was afraid to bring it up because it was the second time I met him. I didn't know if he would throw me out of his house or what. So that was like my, oh God, how am I going to bring this up? How am I going to bring this up? Then she said, I'm just trying to figure you out. And he said, you're not going to be able to do that. And I'm like, why? And he's like, you're not bright enough. And I was like, oh, there's my opening. There's my opening.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess you used that to...
which tells you everything you need to know about this particular documentarianism. I'm not being objective here. I'm looking for a hook so I can craft a narrative.
Yes.
Just saying. Troy, when it comes to actors like Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, and Jim Carrey, they have the same character, behavior, and I always wonder if that's really them. I agree with you about Chevy Chase and Bill Murray. I would say that I've seen a much greater range with Jim Carrey. When you consider things like even Liar Liar, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh, I love that movie, Eternal Sunshine
Man on the Moon.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. When he's playing someone who's definitely not him. He's playing a real person, and he's doing it brilliantly. I'm going to give some credit, some acting cred to Jim Carrey. But you're right. The other two pretty much play the same role all the time. It's just them as themselves.
I think Jim Carrey also, he...
Yeah, The Truman Show's another one That's a good point.
I remember that was a good one. I remember behind the scenes, like when the Will Smith slap happened, how he basically said, I brought this up in Deleted Scene stream earlier tonight. It was like, we're not the cool kids anymore. And he was right. And I actually gave him points for not mincing words on that shouldn't have happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is the last one. I thought you might find this interesting, though. There was a lot of stuff in the wild stuff in the Chevy Chase documentary, but the cocaine in the shaving cream can, that took the cake. What? Can I mention this on stream? I guess I already did. So okay, so
Yeah.
Cocaine came up pretty early in Chevy Chase. SNL writer Rose Schuster mentions that Gilda Radner used to call it the devil's dandruff, and Dan Aykroyd admits everyone did it in the cast, though he didn't much like the coke. Cut to Chevy Chase, who was allegedly the biggest user of the stuff around set and the person that they worried about the most. If you haven't watched the doc, the story in question came from Alan Greisman, a producer who spent considerable time with the Funny Man. He mentioned one wild story about them spending time together in Hawaii that I can't remember even hearing about the comedian's that I can't remember ever hearing about the comedian's drug use, noting we spent a lot of time together in the late 70s and early 80s. He was uniquely funny and pretty crazy. When we were in Hawaii, he had someone ship him many ounces of coke in a special shaving cream can, which you could twist a certain way and get to the coke.
Wow.
This was the 70s, man.
It sure was. Yeah, look, this is why John Candy, not John, well, he had his problems too. I was going to say Jim Belushi, there was a lot of drugs being done there. Dan Aykroyd's talked about it too,
Yeah. But let me see. There was a piece of advice Lord Michael once gave about coke. Lauren used to say that coke was God's way of telling you that you have too much money. He used to say, don't stay on one thing. If you're going to take anything, rotate them. This was a long time ago. Okay.
That's maybe good advice for a kid of the 70s, I suppose.
I guess. I don't know, man. You couldn't... Even if you wanted to experiment these days with that stuff, they're cutting it with all the nasty stuff like fentanyl now. You wouldn't dare touch it.
Oh, that's true. That's absolutely true.
Anyway, hopefully we're not... Okay, let's move on. Anyway, just reporting what they said from this article, YouTube. Okay. Tomb Raider.
Oh my gosh, wait a minute. One last thing I wanted to say
Go
here.
ahead, yeah.
Lynn Green says, in the first season, there was a sketch. The last surviving not ready for primetime player, John Belushi. Yeah, they didn't predict that one real well, did they?
No, they didn't. Yeah, but as Nancy Reagan once said, don't do drugs, kids. Anyway.
Yeah.
I actually give her...
There's something missing from this picture. What is it? I'm not sure. Something's missing.
Oh, wait.
Maybe a couple things are missing from this picture.
What are you talking about?
The chat knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, dude. Okay. I'm not going to say what's popping in my head, okay? But anyway.
No, that's probably exactly what I meant.
Okay. Did you see the last actress who played Tomb Raider in a movie? I'm just saying. Did you see the last actress that played? Never mind. You know what?
Well, yeah, good point there. Yeah.
Men like women of all shapes and sizes. I'm just going to say that. Okay, let's not pick on anybody.
Yes, but this is a specific character. I mean, if they want to go old school, they could give her, like points. But I mean, that might be going a bit far.
Okay. Anyway, moving
Big
on
old
to
triangles.
Amazon. Yes, funny man. Amazon has revealed a first look at Sophie Turner as Lara Croft in the new Prime Video Tomb Raider series. The image below was released to coincide with the start of production. Turner, famous for playing Sansa Stark in Game of Thrones, plays a new take on Lara Croft, although with many of the features fans of the world-famous archaeologist and adventurer as she appears in the original Tomb Raider games will know well. The series stars Turner as Lara Croft alongside recently announced cast Sigourney Weaver, Jason Isaacs, Martin Bob Temple, Jack Bannon, John Heffernan, Bill Patterson Joseph, Sasha Lewis. I don't know. Just put Chris Tucker in there, huh? So you can say, "Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?" I'm just okay. Never mind. Weaver will play Evelyn Wallace, a character not featured in the original game, who is described by Amazon as a mysterious, high-flying woman who is keen to exploit Lara's talents. I'm assuming she's the villain.
I don't know. I think the villain here is Phoebe Waller-Bridge, but go on.
Oh, I forgot she's writing this, isn't she?
Yeah, in fact, Lynn says Phoebe Waller-Bridge running it. The outfit will be worn ironically, and she will be the modern version who isn't rich, protects tombs instead of raiding, and has a girlfriend. More commie gobbledygook.
This is also...
I think you're spot on with that, Lynn.
I also feel Sophie Turner here has been too public with her relationship, or failed with the Jonas, and then hopping on to, and just I felt discretion would have been a better part of value here. You're a movie actor if you want a career going, and frankly speaking, is she that good of an actress? She was Jean Grey in those X-Men movies. I don't know how good she was in those.
She wasn't.
Which is okay.
And she wasn't that good as Sansa either. I mean, she was passable, but she wasn't a standout in any way that I could think of.
In her defense, it looks like she's in shape, though.
I mean, that's you got to give him props for at least that. Tim Hayes says, "Can't we get a Tomb Raider animated series?" I thought we had one.
We have one. It's on Netflix. You watch at your peril.
Yeah, I've heard terrible things about it.
Yeah,
unless that's what he means. Unless he's ignoring the fact that exists and say, "Gee,
no, you can't." No. I'm sorry. He wasn't aware of it. That's the problem. You know who does the voice of Lara Croft on that show is Haley Atwell, and she would have been perfect for a live action.
Oh my gosh! Right? Yeah, she would have been.
Anyway, but this is where we are. But again, nothing wrong with this. In fact, to be honest, if I'm being honest, she looked kind of like one of those back in the day when before Crystal Dynamics became not fun. They used to hire a model to go around and be Lara Croft, and she would promote the latest game. And they had some rather attractive women playing as Lara Croft, and they would do shoots and promote the game and do other things. And then they stopped doing that when they rebooted the series again. Netflix is not canon. I don't know what is canon with Tomb Raider at this point.
The games, only the games, and only up to a certain point.
The comics,
in fact,
were rather
if you
want
to know more, go check out Retro Blasting. He's got a number of great videos about Lara Croft and Tomb Raider, including a very, very strange, not exactly safe for work publication they did about Lara Croft.
Jet Girls, or what it's called.
Not as not safe for work as Kandagawa Jet Girls, but yeah, go check out his channel for sure.
There we go. Okay, so those of you who are interested in this, let's see here. Martin Bob Semple is Zip as Lara Croft's long-standing tech support and friend. Oh, is Zip? Sorry, not Zip. My mistake. I didn't see the period there. I don't know. Sigourney Weaver, Evelyn Wallace, mysterious high flying. Okay, so Sigourney Weaver's playing the.
I've noticed that they keep throwing Sigourney Weaver into everything where they're trying to get some buzz for an old franchise.
She's in the Mandalorian movie coming out now. I mean, that's another thing.
Are they trying to turn her into Pedro Pascal?
Okay.
For crying out loud.
Please.
And thank you to Tim Hayes celebrating 15 months of membership. Thank you so much, Tim Hayes.
Juliet Mohamed is Georgia. Georgia is devoted by the book's curator at the British Museum, dedicated to the proper preservation of history. That means not knocking walls over to get to things. I'm sorry. I'm kidding.
I'm not sure what you were saying you were going to watch that this weekend, but you know what? Police Academy is a great option. Glad you went and you did.
That's a fun one.
So I saw that Michael made that King Solomon's Mines. Yeah, it's given me the excuse to finally start reading the book, then watch the 80s movie after. Then I'll watch the video. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, do that.
See, here's the problem. I want to like the show, but I know it's going to be trash. That's where I'm at,
Yeah.
basically. It's like like this looks good right here. I'm okay with this. I know you had your own comments at the beginning, but
Yeah.
as we've had other act. You know what? I'm not going to pick on people on this. Okay. Let's move on to the next story. I think we got to get through this. Nick Cave and Warren Ellis to compose score for Netflix series Joe Nesbo's Detective Hole. Now, the reason I picked this article out of is like, oh, they're doing a Detective Hole series, which I thought was kind of interesting. Which I also find odd because from what I know, that's not a very PC book series. Politically correct book series.
So watch for them to completely subvert everybody's expectations.
What is it? A Norwegian author, I believe, takes place. I think it takes place in Norway. That was that movie, the Snowman, which deleted scenes went on a rant about. Stephen went on a rant about one of your last calls. One of his first appearances on Last Call. It might have been his first appearance on Last Call, where he ranted about how this horrible movie that they didn't finish and just slapped a Martin Scorsese slapped his name over it and all was good. Yeah, it was not good, but apparently it's going to get another life as a Netflix series, so that's interesting. And Nick Cave and Warren Ellis are going to be working on the soundtrack for it. So Paris previously teamed on soundtracks for The Proposition, The Assassination of Jesse James by that coward Robert Ford, and Wind River will bring those Norse sensibilities to the series. The show is produced by Working Title and based on author Nesbo's global best-selling novels. The whodunit serial killer drama stars Tobias Santelman as in the titular role as Harry Hole, an anti-hero detective. He goes head-to-head with his longtime adversary and corrupt detective Tom Waller, Joe Kinnaman, simultaneously working to catch a serial killer and bring Waller to justice before it's too late. This actually sounds good. I might check this out.
Yeah.
In fact, what I'm hoping is it's going to be like Cobra Kai, where it's a series that Netflix bought rather than produced.
Yeah.
I don't know. That might be it might be what I'm looking for. Plus, I always feel we don't get stories in that part of the world, like Sweden, Norway, Iceland. I'm always curious about that part of the world. Like
I've
what
talked
they
about
like,
a couple of movies, Scandinavian films. They're doing some good horror films, actually.
Oh yeah. So I think they're sort of coming on the cultural market more recently in recent years. So I'm kind of curious because
I think that the U.S. Made entertainment has been so slapdash. I think people are starting to look for other options.
I want all countries to be doing their best because competition is good for the customer, right?
Yep.
Better than making a Sherlock series and changing the characters into Diet Coke version of Detective Holes. Yeah, well, let's hopefully that won't happen here. But they got good scorers for this. Nick Cave from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, right? So he did a song on my X-Files soundtrack, Songs in the Key of X, I believe. At least the music will be good. Yeah, deleted scenes. I don't know. I'll keep my fingers crossed on the series. This is interesting. This is also on Netflix, and part of me has been wondering if maybe what my problem is. I instead of complaining about there not being any good TV on now, I can just go back and catch all these shows that I dismissed because I didn't have the time to watch them like 10, 15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And this is 14 years later, Steven Spielberg's 88% Rotten Tomatoes sci-fi action series lands on Netflix. Seminal director Steven Spielberg is well renowned for bringing aliens to life on both the big and small screens, whether it be the friendly aliens in E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, violent invaders in War of the Worlds, or whatever he's up to for next year's Disclosure Day. The beloved filmmaker is well versed in extraterrestrials. But while these have since become cinematic classics, one of his alien-based efforts has flown under the radar and is all set to be rediscovered on Netflix. These aliens are not just of the invading variety, but of the destroying Earth variety, as Falling Skies drops audiences into a post-apocalyptic scenario in which the planet has been decimated by extraterrestrial conquerors. However, a scrappy band of human freedom fighters have survived, and now they're rising up under the leadership of ER and the Pit star Noah Wiley.
Mm-hmm.
All 5 seasons of Falling Skies are due to become available on streaming on Netflix in the United States from January 1st, 2026, and you can check out the official synopsis below. In the wake of an alien attack that has crippled most of the world, shock has turned to resolve as the survivors gather to fight back. Leading the charge is Boston history professor Tom Mason, whose wife was killed in the attack, and one of his 3 sons is among a group of captive teens. Desperate to rescue his son, Tom joins forces with the 2nd Massachusetts, a makeshift regiment assigned to protect the survivors. As second in command to Weaver, Tom uses his knowledge of military history to gain intelligence about the aliens and form a plan of attack. But the plan keeps changing and more questions surface as survivors discover what they're really up against. A highly intelligent, heavily armed alien force whose purpose on Earth is the biggest mystery of all. I heard good things about this. This was originally on TNT from June 2011 to August 2015. And Spielberg was a producer on it. It was under the DreamWorks motto. But and it also says Falling Skies is one of the rare instances in which the series, despite issues behind the scenes involving a conveyor belt of showrunners, was given the chance to end on its own terms, ending the show with a definitive conclusion rather than the kind of abrupt ending that plagues so many TV shows. Noah Weil at the time described it as a miraculous that Falling Skies was able to end the way it did. So, yeah, maybe check this out. What do you think? Did you ever watch this back in the day on TNT?
I didn't. When you sent me this article, I was like, "Oh, that sounds familiar," but I've never actually seen an episode of it. No.
I watched Falling Skies for a few seasons. I liked it, but lost track of it. That's what happened with me because there was so much TV on back then. I'm like, I don't have time for another show, and that's how I felt. But now maybe this thing that I ignored, maybe I should watch it. Yeah. Dark Skies was a Fox show, as I recall, yeah. Or was it a competitor for... That might have been on a competing station, because maybe that was up against the X-Files.
I was going to say, if it was on Fox, then it... and if it was on Fox and it was a good show, you knew it didn't have long to live.
Remember Werewolf? I was so mad about Werewolf back in the day.
I was mad about a lot of shows on Fox.
That's why when the X-Files premiered, I'm like, this is going to last... I was not expecting it to last throughout the year. And then suddenly it became this big hit. That's when television sort of changed and when they started taking more risks. But I appreciate the show had an ending. There were some decent sci-fi shows. Even like 15 years ago, there were some decent sci-fi shows. You had Fringe, you had Continuum, which I liked a lot. You'd probably like... What?
Yeah. Oh. You and Netta really liked Fringe.
Yeah, Fringe was great. Continuum was really good too, even though Continuum... They basically got word, no, the show's being canceled. You have 6 episodes to wrap it up, where they were going to do more with certain plot lines, I think. But Continuum was fascinating because Continuum was a time travel series, but it was about people from the future coming to our present.
Yep.
And it was about this lady police officer of the future, played by the wonderful Rachel Nichols, who I always believe should have gotten more lead parts. So I was happy she was the lead on this show. And she... was going up against these terrorists because in the future there's a corporate Congress that runs the world. Like all the corporations basically just run the world, and the world's horrible. So these terrorists go back in time to basically stop things before they get that bad in the future.
Yeah.
You know what was clever on the show, though, what they did, I don't want to get into it. They actually end up succeeding and change the future. But then the future they create is even worse than the one the corporate Congress was running. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I don't know, Continuum was great. Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much more of it if you ever get around to watching. It's one of the unsung TV shows. I don't believe I ever saw how Continuum ended. I thought Continuum had a good ending. Again, though, I feel it did get cut short, but I think it had a decent ending, and it was interesting how there was a new conflict that came about because the terrorists actually ended up succeeding. Speaking of science fiction series, and I use the term loosely, Star Trek Starfleet Academy bombs hard.
Yeah.
We are still arguing behind the scenes about who has to watch Star Trek Starfleet Academy and review it. And keep in mind, I don't think this I don't think this is on like a WDW Pro style site. I think it's on a regular news site.
Yeah, this is the drive-bys that are starting to talk like this now.
Yeah, There doesn't seem to be much urgency, though, as nobody else has watched it either. The show had a debut where the entire first episode was launched for free on YouTube. Star Trek threw a party and nobody came. Mark your
Yeah,
calendars, Trekkies. The 15th January 26th day, Star Trek officially died, killed by Paramount and Alex Kurtzman, a team that may have never seen an episode of the show before they took it over. I don't think they did. If they did, it
almost
looks like
certainly.
they did.
No, there's so many things that they've been doing in this where the fans come back and they're like, "That's entirely impossible," and they're like, "Oh well," and then they come up with an explanation. Like the freaking female Jem'Hadar half Klingon, and I'm like, there is so much wrong with that. First, the Jem'Hadar are a single gendered species, all created through cloning.
That's
They're
right.
not a dimorphic race. Well, maybe the founders, made them dimorphic, and now they have male and female. Oh, really? And they also made them hypothyroidic.
I thought they were
Because
all.
that girl is like, and what is this? It's like there's a bigger problem with obesity in the far future than there is now.
Well, not
What
only
the
that, but
hell?
Starfleet. I'm not going to go as far as to say it's a military, but it's kind of a military. You have to be in shape to be. I mean,
Yeah.
let me see though. Starfleet Academy was released for free on YouTube premiere as part of it launch, and it was garnered a peak viewing viewership of 1,300 concurrent viewers. 1,300 people watched it.
And that's when they're trying to give it away for free.
And I have a suspicion those concurrent. I guess people that stuck to the end because I'm like, I'm thinking those 1,300 started watching it for 5 minutes and changed.
Screw this crap. Yeah.
Oh, 11 hours after his 60,000 people had seen it. To put in perspective, our own Last Movie Outpost Overlook series of video has 2.5 more times the views than 16,000. And is a lower engagement than mid-tier fan upload talking about Star Trek Starfleet Academy. This is indicative of a show with zero buzz, zero momentum, zero inbuilt core fan base, and zero is for Paramount. This is broadly unspinnable by any PR department. Paramount will have to consider ripping up those already signed contracts for the second season. There's no other way. Who the heck greenlit this for 2 seasons?
This was all contractually based, and this is Alex Kurtzman trying desperately to hold on to his contract.
No one is watching these shows. They're not making any money. And they're expensive.
You almost have to see this as a victory for the fans, because this almost absolutely ensures that they will not be extending Kurtzman's contract. Jesse Guajardo says, Troy, from my understanding, Star Trek was Navy-based, and it had the principles of the Navy culture and doctrine with the focus of exploring and understanding others. I would say more like the Coast Guard, but yes, it definitely involves naval nomenclature and ranks and so forth.
Kind of depends on the eras too, because
but they did try to push
more Navy. Yeah,
original series obviously was very Cold War.
Yes,
but by next gen they were definitely going for a more Jacques Cousteau Calypso kind of concept with it.
What was going fine for them until they ran into the Borg.
And they got militarized really damn quick, didn't they?
Yes, it's like something they weren't expecting that. And
sometimes you need a reality check.
That was Q, basically. Q did that for them. He says, you need a reality check.
You have no idea what's out there.
He said there were horrors, and I keep thinking that there were other horrible things out there besides even the Borg that they hadn't run into yet. But this bomb's hard though. This Klingon character, I heard he's sensitive and wants to be a doctor.
Nate made another great point. This, just like they did with the last season of Star Trek Discovery, they filmed one season and split it in 2. Again, I think that's some contractual behind the scenes, shenanigans that they're pulling there.
Do people not realize that people love the Klingons? In fact, Worf is like many people's favorite TNG character. I don't understand this. they're a warrior race. That's what makes them interesting. That's what's cool about them, and I don't get them. The funniest things on TNG were how Worf would bounce off of Data, right?
Yeah.
Because it's
Well,
funny, for all of Worf's opinions, he never thought less of Data for being an android. I always noticed that about him. And they were both kind of outsiders on the ship, right? So that might have something with that.
Jesse says, why couldn't they hit hard on the Navy culture by having a new generation attending academy with like a West Point or an Annapolis Naval Academy feel to it? That was the original. This whole concept of Starfleet Academy was something that they have been planning since the days of the movie gen with like Star Trek 3. They were planning to do this, and it was going to be, first they thought about doing Kirk during his academy days, which we eventually got something like that from JJ Trek, and then later on they revived the idea in the next gen when they did Wesley at the academy. They were thinking about doing a spin-off that didn't take either, and then we end up with this watered down trash. Yeah, Jaden the Klingon, you're kind of right with that.
So bad. Because they wanted a Harry Potter vibe, complete with rival houses. I've heard that people said it feels like they're trying to do it like Harry Potter, but Harry Potter is not Star Trek. That's not. I don't. You know what I'm realizing? This show probably would have benefited better from the writers of NCIS than the writers of Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, well, and when you consider, and Wallace was just mentioning the animated series, the original series and the animated series of the original Trek had some of the best sci-fi writers in the business. And we've gotten, look, this is all DE. This is what happens when you have DEI. The whole concept behind DEI is no longer looking for merit-based employment, looking for the best people to do the best jobs. They literally are looking for, there is no other criteria than your gender, who you like to sleep with, and the color of your skin. That's it. It doesn't matter if you know how to write.
But they love Harry Potter, just mad that J.K. Rowling disagrees with them on the one issue. Yeah, they get a little testy about that. Yeah, but this looks terrible. This looks like the worst of Kurtzman Trek, and that's saying a lot.
It finally has this is the coda. This is it's over, folks. We're done. And I honestly believe that this is the swan song where where Kurtzman fades out.
By the way, the woman in the middle with those weird puffy things with the puffs on her head, I thought apparently she's a hologram.
I don't know. I don't know.
Holograms are now, they can become members of Stark, which I don't quite get this. But you know what else I thought was funny? When I saw the way she was acting all weird, I kept thinking maybe she's a Packlet.
Yeah.
Remember the
Packlets? Remember, Data joined the Academy, and he's an android, so why not a hologram?
Well, my problem with holograms is they don't have a physical form. Am I wrong there?
They use the holographic doctors,
Yeah, I think she comes from him. So she can move around and hold people. Hence, it doesn't make any sense. Moving on. I can't deal with this anymore. Here we go. The big story.
Okay, hold on to your seats here, folks, because we're going to hit this. We're going to hit it hard. And we haven't talked about anything related to this for a very, very long time. We're going to sum it up for you and put this witch to bed.
Yeah. So, a shift in the force for Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy. The exit interview. Now, to be fair, we don't have the whole interview here because it would take too long. But I brought out some poignant questions here. All right.
Let me be very clear. This article is, everyone says she's not going anywhere. She's going to be around forever. look, this is coming from herself now. So this is not rumor. This is not conjecture. This is literally her self-sponsored exit interview.
Well, see,
Yes.
now this is when I think that we should just hit her a few more times, make sure she stays down.
What, drive the stake in her heart? You know, like, 'cause you're not, okay, I'm sorry.
Ding
Okay.
dong, the witch is dead. The
Okay.
witch, oh witch, wicked witch.
Anyway, on a rainy London day in December, not 2 hours after wrapping Star Wars Starfighter with director Sean Levy, you looking forward to that?
Not at all. I won't be watching it.
And a cast headed by Ryan Gosling, Kathleen Kennedy was ready to discuss the long-in-the-works transition of Lucasfilm. She's handing the reins over to her long-time lieutenants. The Disney division will be run by Chief Creative Officer Dave Filoni. And on the business side, Lin-Wen Brennan, a sharp Welsh executive who has been Lucasfilm Executive Vice President and General Manager after 16 years at Industrial Light and Magic. Kennedy has been getting them ready for a couple of years as she's plotted a return to her first love, producing. She'll be making a lot of, Star Wars films far in the future, as well as teaming on some projects with Frank Marshall. They've been married nearly 40 years and fell in love as they presided over Steven Spielberg's Amblin in its heyday. Here she explains the deadline, why now, and what's ahead for her. Now, I have a question for her. Now, it sounds like she's not gone, though, because she's producing movies.
That's what she's always done. She's always been producing movies. She is going to continue to put money into films. In theory, that means she might have input, but she is getting out of the actual show running.
So these were the questions I found most poignant, from Deadline. Lucasfilm has percolated a lot of future Star Wars films and generated many hours of Disney Plus series in recent years. Talk about this combination of Filoni and Brennan and you finally losing your grip on the reins. 2 years ago, this is Kathleen Kennedy, 2 years ago, I went to Bob and Alan to figure out what the transition plan would be, and I made the recommendation that it be Dave Filoni and Lin-Wen Brennan, the latter of whom has been running the business alongside me. She comes out of ILM 16 years as the general manager and then transitioned into being the general manager for Lucasfilm. She has been my key financial partner, my business partner running the company. Dave is the perfect person to transition.
That's not really a great endorsement, because if she's been involved in these massive budget overruns, good luck, Disney.
This is why I'm seriously wondering if anything's really going to change for the better. Dave is the perfect person to transition, but he hadn't made a movie, and I worked very closely with him at the beginning with Rogue One to get him a feel of how live action works. His background is animation, as he worked with George on Clone Wars. He's very talented and immersed in Star Wars. He and Pablo Hidalgo
that guy
are like the walking encyclopedias inside the company. They always have the answer when you ask, hey, can I do this with a lightsaber? Or what colors were the sabers? Or anything else you need to know with what has come before. Dave has now spent all the seasons of The Mandalorian working with Jon Favreau, who's been a great mentor to him. And then he went off and did Ahsoka, which came from one of the stories he was telling in the Clone Wars. He was able to create the season 1 of Ahsoka, and now he's just finished directing some of season 2 and writing all the episodes. He finished that in October, but my point is, we've been talking about this for 2 years. Deadline says, Bob Iger retired, was replaced, and then came back. Kennedy says, that's not happening here. I told everybody I would stick around a bit longer than I had intended, but I'm so ready to go off and have my chance to make lots of movies. I want to do more movies, and I want the opportunity to get back to the kind of eclectic group of movies the way I used to. I'm looking forward to working with Frank again on some stuff. He has been doing lots of documentaries and having a ball. I'm also really interested in the new technology, I have to say. Deadline later asked, what have been the highs and lows of running a company built on such beloved IP? The highs include realizing how many people love Star Wars. The majority of people, and certainly the people that I run into and people outside the business, they love Star Wars. They love the movies. They might love all the shows. They might love some of the shows. But when I came into this, I realized a few things. We had walked in at a moment where there hadn't been any movies for 10 years or more, but there was still the memory of the greatest series of movies in cinema history. That would be James Bond or Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry. Wait, I'll stop
So
talking.
let me start addressing some of these
Okay.
points. Curtis says, then how in Sam Hill did they come up with the Acolyte? I'll tell you, that was 100. Oh, the Acolyte. I'm sorry, I was confusing that with Ahsoka.
Yes.
Well, that was. I don't know how much Filoni had to do with that. That was
Leslie Headland.
Leslie Headland, who was basically given carte blanche by Kathleen Kennedy, and that one, well, she'll never work for Disney again. I can guarantee you that. Even she went too far, even for them. But it sounds like Disney puff piece on her getting pushed out. No, actually, this is a Kathleen Kennedy puff piece. We've gotten nothing from Disney. They have nothing to say about her.
No.
Even Ryan Johnson came out and kind of took a dig at her.
Really?
Yes. So in this article, she says something about him and how.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll save that then. This is Disney's attempt. No, it's not. This is not a Disney sponsored thing. This is
Deadline.
Every time you hear from Kathleen Kennedy, she's doing an end run around Disney. She's going off on her own screed here. That's why I said I can guarantee you this is her words, because she went to the media and said, I want you to interview me for my exit.
So let's see. She says, so you're walking into something that has enormous expectations, yet at the same time, you know that you've got to find new characters and you have to expand the galaxy, and you need to think about who the new audience is. That's what I feel that I did. And that's what I feel all the people that I've worked with over this last decade did. The highs include bringing in a new audience. I think we did find new characters. We continue to find new characters. Really?
Yeah, you come up with all new characters and then don't ever really develop them, make them so insufferable nobody cares about them.
Look,
Troy Filoni isn't any better. He's a forgetful fan who has his own Mary Sue, not Jedi. Nerf the most terrifying non-force warrior in animated history, and copy and paste stories from other media. Not even copy and paste. Just like cheap knockoffs from other media. But you're absolutely right. Dave Filoni is not going to be any better. In fact, we're talking about Kathleen Kennedy, though. At least she's gone.
I'm curious to see how things are going to change there, because it could be we get more incompetence. That's what I'm expecting. But let's go into Deadline. The question next is the lows. Were the lows if we're taking over. You'll like this. The lows are that you've got a very, very small percentage of the fan base that has enormous expectations, and basically they want to continue to see pretty much the same thing. And if you're not going to do that, then you know going in that you're going to disappoint them. I'm not sure that there's anything you can do about it, because you can't please everybody. All you can do is try to tell good stories and try to stick to the essence of what George created.
Yeah, well, you failed. You failed to tell good stories, period. JPRPH1 says, I am part of that small percentage of fans that hated Disney Star Wars. And see, the numbers don't lie. They lost the entire fan base. You had this huge fan base that has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. This whole small percentage thing is demonstrably untrue.
I'm very curious to see how Mandalorian movie and Starfighter do. All you can do is try to tell good stories and try to... Okay. He embedded incredible values in the Star Wars and what it has to say. The whole idea of hope and fun and entertainment is what he's done over these. What hope was there in the sequel trilogy? I'm just saying. Okay, the whole idea. Okay, so
the fans went in with hope, and they saw it diminish with each movie.
Keep in mind, in The Last Jedi, forget even about the Luke stuff, the whole Resistance were getting torn apart by the New Order. Like, most of them were killed. Merciless, like that. Where's the hope there?
And unlike everything that went before, where you understood the background story. Look, even in the very first movie, you got the background of the old Republic, the new Republic, the Jedi, all of this stuff, the local governors, all of that. Within the first half of one movie. I still, after 3 sequel films, have no idea who this First Order were, how they relate to the Empire, the Resistance. Why are they the Resistance? What are they resisting? Weren't they the New Republic? I don't. It made no fucking sense.
Yes. Wouldn't they have been the? They didn't explain any of it, but that's where you have to buy these long books written by not great. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Chuck,
but we have no books to draw from, and all this canon. Right. Well, if you're gonna decanonize all the books and comics that we always loved and call them non-canon, we will not consider anything you put out to be canon. If it's not up on screen, it's not canon. If you put it on TV behind a paywall, it's not canon. Because not all the fans get to see it. So screw you. Go away.
She goes on to say, I think everybody that came into the Star Wars space, they love Star Wars, and that was first and foremost important. You want to have people coming into Star Wars and wanting to tell stories and wanting to make movies and wanting to create television shows that you respect and care about. Jon Favreau was a completely different than Tony Gilroy, and they're both incredibly talented storytellers. I found it thrilling to support each one of them in trying to tell the stories they wanted to do.
Oh, speaking of telling stories, are we going to actually tell a story about Star Wars? Are there going to be any wars in this Star Wars? Or is it now just a star exposition? Just wondering.
It's kids in a suburban neighborhood sneaking off on a spaceship. Okay. Yeah. That's what I think I do well, and that's what I like to do, and I want to continue to do it, and hopefully that took Star Wars into the next step. We'll see in the long run, but it feels like it did. I feel like we expanded the universe and we brought in new audiences in, and I think that's the most difficult thing to do with franchises in general, but especially with something like Star Wars, where George just created something that became part of everybody's childhood. Every single filmmaker that walks in and wants to work on Star Wars, the first thing they say to me, the first thing I hear is, let me tell you about when I went to see Star Wars for the first time with my dad. All right.
So, yes. Wallace Lang says the original version of Ahsoka was created by Dave Filoni in the Clone Wars animated series. For George Lucas said in an interview that Ahsoka had died in the siege on the Jedi Temple. And actually, that's exactly the way it was portrayed in the cartoon. And Filoni literally created the world within worlds to go and change that to save his Mary Sue character.
Well, I don't know. Yep. That was later, though. I don't know. I didn't watch the Clone Wars show. But what was this? Let me go on, though. Let's get to what the fans are eager to know. The progress on films and series by filmmakers who've committed to putting in that 3 to 5 years. Rian Johnson, James Mangold, Simon Kinberg, Taika Waititi. Where are their projects at? This is actually a good question because this is kind of being softball as far as I'm concerned up here. I've got to tread a bit carefully here. Jim Mangold and Bo Williams wrote an incredible script, but it is definitely breaking the mold, and it's just on hold. Taika turned in a script that I think is hilarious and great. It's not just my decision, especially when I've got a foot out the door. Donald Glover has turned in a script, and as you have read, Steve Soderbergh and Adam Driver turned in a script written by Scott Burns. It was just great. Anything's a possibility if someone's willing to take a risk. Soderbergh? Never mind. It's not his kind of thing, Star Wars.
I know.
I remember when I came into this job, the first thing Bob Iger said to me was, be bold. I've always liked that because I think that you have to be bold and you have to be willing to take risks with people and with ideas. Otherwise, you are just doing the same thing. Right now, in an era where companies are so risk averse, and I get it. I hear all the conversations. They've got Wall Street to please, and I get it. But I also believe that's what contributes to things disappearing ultimately. I just think you have to take those chances. Everything I just reeled off.
That is a brilliant thing to say when the first movie that she made in the Star Wars sequels was literally just a rehash, beat for beat, of the original Star Wars.
A New Hope, yes. Everything I just reeled off to you is taking a bit of a chance because none of those filmmakers are just walking in trying to do the same old, same old. I'm excited about that, but the studio's nervous about that, and that's kind of where it sits at the moment. So that's a non-answer, actually. So,
you know, I wanna bring this up here. Samuel Proctor says, I grew up with Filoni's Clone Wars. I will admit that I loved it when it came out, but looking back, I realize how much filler there is, how much character arcs are done off screen. You're absolutely right. It was a cartoon for kids, so you were the audience for it. It was good as a cartoon for kids. There's nothing really inherently wrong with it. I did feel that it filled in a lot of plot points of the Clone Wars that we didn't get in the movies. But at the same time, let it go, Filoni, because everything that I've seen him do when he takes, whether it's Rebels or Clone Wars, and transfers these characters into live action, they come off as hollow live action versions of cartoon characters. It's like watching the live action Flintstones, for crying out loud.
yeah, it's very weird because especially seeing Sabine and all that, I like I said, I only watched the clips from that,
Yeah.
the deep fakes of Obi-Wan and sitting on the couch, and just anyway, let's move on. We got a couple more questions, and then we'll be wrapping up for the evening. So, this is a question. What about Rian Johnson returning? 'Cause she didn't answer the Rian Johnson thing. What about Rian Johnson returning after Star Wars episode 8, The Last Jedi, grossed 1.3 billion globally? We expected him to return. Kennedy. Once he made the Netflix deal and went off to start doing the whole Knives Out films, that has occupied a huge amount of his time. That's the other thing that happens here. After Sean and I started talking about Star Wars, Stranger Things kicks in, and he was completely consumed for a while by that. That's what happened with Ryan. And then I do believe he got spooked by the online negativity. I think Ryan made one of the best Star Wars movies. He's a brilliant filmmaker, and he got spooked. This is the rough part. When people come into this space, I have every filmmaker and actor say to me, what's going to happen? They're a little scared.
Yeah, and in response, Rian Johnson came out on social media and said, "Ha ha ha ha, not spooked."
Did he say that? Seriously?
Yes, that's exactly what he
Yeah,
said.
you know why he said that? Because he's a freaking troll. He trolled the whole audience.
Yeah, he did. He's like, he didn't give a crap, and we all knew it. She is so full of crap.
This was my experience seeing The Last Jedi. So earlier that movie, I saw what I consider to be the best sequel to a science fiction movie I'd ever seen, which was Blade Runner 2049. And then I went and saw The Last Jedi and said, this is the worst sequel I've ever seen to a science fiction movie. This is just terrible.
Curtis says, I prefer.
And I wasn't even aware of all the online hatred yet. I just thought it was terrible when I saw it. Go ahead. What?
Curtis says, I prefer Knives Out to all the Star Wars stuff. I refuse to watch it. I will not watch anything he makes ever a frickin' again. Ever.
Kind of in the same
it could be the best. It could be the best mystery comedy ever, and I would not watch it.
I'm getting that way with certain other artists in Hollywood, like a certain Mark Ruffalo. I think I never want to see anything he's in ever again. I'm just done. I'm just fed up with these idiots. It's, pardon my French, it's like the Hollywood is filled right now with idiots and assholes. That's how I feel about it right now. And we got one last question here. You want the last one?
Give me the last question.
It's a longer interview, but I pulled out what I thought was.
Yeah.
You've developed a thicker skin, no doubt. You can't have been used to all the criticism when you were producing all those movies with Frank Marshall for Steven Spielberg. What do you say to ease the apprehension of these newcomers to the Star Wars universe? Every time you release another movie series, it's like fire in the hole. This is Deadline.
Yeah.
Kennedy, I'm honest. I'm honest, especially with the women that come into this space because they unfairly get targeted. I don't try to sugarcoat it, and I emphasize that it's a very small group of people with loud megaphones. I truly do not believe that it's the majority of the fans, and I think we're also in this weird world of where bots can affect things. You have to develop a tough skin. That is exactly right. That's what you have to do. You can't make it go away. All we can do is put our heads down and do the work and believe that we're doing the best we can, telling the best story we can. And if somebody gets really nervous about it and doesn't want to do it, I say, then don't do it because I can't tell you this won't happen.
I just dropped a link for you guys to check out. The
Pro.
absolute best commentary on this is from WDW Pro. Go check that out. Jesse Guajardo says, Troy, I'm surprised Hollywood or Disney isn't trying to make a BattleTech movie. I've heard that Hollywood has been trying to for a long time. There's a lot of rights issues going on there.
We need BattleTech plus woke.
Remember what I said earlier in the stream, what Scott Adams said, that when it comes to celebrities, the media never gets it right, and never in context. So just keep in mind that this has nothing to do with an actual interview. This is the message that she wanted to get out, and we know it's going to be bullshit. So we're just bringing it to you because if nothing else, we're telling you it's for real, guys. She really is out. For whatever good that's going to do, probably none, but there it is. It's finally done. If you've been saving a bottle of champagne, go ahead and crack it because it's not going to get any better than this.
Here's what I think is going on here. I think that there are a lot of fools working at Lucasfilm that haven't really been in charge. They've been able to duck behind the people in charge. Now I think they're finally going to be out in the open, and people are really going to see them as the incompetents that they are.
Something that I was thinking as we were leading up, as everyone's saying, oh, well, nothing's going to change. Filoni did this before. He's going to do it again. We'll see. Because he doesn't have the cover, as other people have been saying, they won't be able to use Kathleen Kennedy as a scapegoat anymore.
Yeah,
that's an excellent point. So now, if anything, if he does some stupid Ahsoka bullcrap and people call him on it, he has nowhere to hide. It's clearly him, and if it doesn't start getting profitable, it's all on him.
What I kind of see happening is this whole thing. I feel that if it's ever going to come crashing down, it'll happen now that Kennedy's left. If these people are truly as incompetent as I think they are, they're just going to keep screwing up. It's going to be like Warner Brothers. Well, I say a few years ago, I want to say like how it is now, but how they had a bunch of idiots making really bad decisions over and over and over again. And I feel that's going to happen. I don't know. We'll see. And frankly, can Lucasfilm do anything but Star Wars? I would argue that all these people here, you have to come up with an original franchise that'll be successful before you can touch Star Wars.
Everything they do, they destroy. They destroyed Star Wars. They destroyed Indiana Jones. They destroyed Willow.
The thing about Willow, they kept thinking like Willow's a proven property. It really wasn't. It had a cult following. I liked it, but it was not this huge hit even when it came out. So you actually had to make Willow good. Or even great to get people interested in it. Without doing that, it ended up being a tax write-off, which is what it ended up being. Now it's disappeared. And Indiana Jones, that was a huge disaster. I don't know how she wasn't out after that.
I think that kind of signed the warrant on her, and that's what led to this. These things take time. I said a long time ago, if she's under contract, she's not just going to be fired tomorrow. That's not how these things work,
Like I said, for now, I don't know, man. I'm done. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say anymore about Star Wars. It's like I feel like a hot air balloon at this point. It just doesn't get me anywhere. And
Yeah.
Star Trek, for some reason, I think could fix itself because I think the guy running Paramount now, Ellison at least, I think he knows that this is a disaster because there's new management over at Paramount. But frankly, they need to put Star Trek on the shelf for a little while. Maybe do a proper remaster of Deep Space Nine and Voyager. They could do that in the meantime.
Damn, yeah, that would be a good start.
Just
That'd be a
remaster them
great
like you
start.
did TNG, so they look good. That's it for the Kathleen Kennedy show. We'll have more on her next week. I'm kidding. This week, that's it for Geeky Geezers. Ned, are any comments on Kathleen Kennedy leaving? Is that a curiosity?
Yay?
Yay! I think that sums it up, doesn't it?
The thing is, if this had been like 2 years ago, I would have been screaming "Yay, yay!" But it's been so long that I've just given up. There comes
Like
a
I
point
said,
where you go ahead, huh?
when you see her the outline of her butt, it cemented inside the door because they slammed it shut behind her, then I'll believe it.
Yeah.
It's like you once commented about Chapek trying to turn he's gonna turn Disney, avoid the iceberg, and it's like you got to start turning the ship now. And I think Disney hit that iceberg a while ago. I think Marvel and Star Wars are not in good shape right now, and we'll see what happens with the Mandalorian movie this summer.
Yep. I won't be going to see it. I won't.
I don't know if anybody's going to be going to see it. There's
Disney,
no buzz.
Disney isn't getting my money anymore. I'll talk about it. I'll tell you what other people are saying about it. But I will. Well, let you guys don't tune into me for reviews anyway. So I don't feel any obligation there. But no.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do like, if you guys, super chat, $500, I'll go see it. Because even if you do that, I still don't want to go see it because I don't want to give any money to Disney.
Yeah. I got you.
Well, he'd go see it, but he'd be so bombed off his butt, I'd have to drive, and I don't have a license.
I went to see it, guys, but they threw me out. Something about public intoxication.
You know what the funny thing is? I think people often said that people were doing this thing called hate watching, which I don't know if they did, because that always struck me as
If they were
ridiculous.
hate watching, they weren't paying for it. They were taking
but even if people were hate watching at some point just to see how bad things got for your franchise, I don't think people are doing it now. I think people are just bored out of their minds.
No, what they're referring to with hate watching is channels like ours where we go, okay, we'll watch this and we'll tell you how bad it was. That's what they mean.
The only show that I might have done that or whatever, I did watch Star Trek Picard season 1 because I want. Red Letter Media was covering it. They were very funny in how they were tearing it down. And of course, it really hurt them because they were big TNG fans over there. And I watched that. But after that, I didn't bother watching season 2 of Picard. I couldn't deal with it. That was it for Kurtzman Trek with me. That I can't. Not even to be familiar with it so I can talk about it on the show. I can't do it. It's just it's that awful.
Okay, let's all just have ourselves a good drink. Calm down,
please.
Relax.
No,
it's all over.
It's all not
over.
No,
it's all over for tonight because in 10 minutes we're all going to be over on Deleted Scenes channel for what's it called? Reserved seats. So if you're here on my channel or on Netter's channel, stay right where you are. We will chauffeur you over there. And you can hang out with him. Immediately after that, well, no, not immediately after. Well, possibly, depending on how late he goes. Tonight at 11:30 Central, 12:30 Eastern, we start the introduction of the Daleks. The very first appearance of the Daleks on Doctor Who.
What's the name of the episode?
The something planet. Let me look at my notes here. Let me just scroll to the top here. The Dead Planet and the Survivors. Those are the first 2 episodes of the I think it's 7 episodes of the Daleks. So
it's a big deal. Big deal serial back in the day. All right.
Absolutely.
And then tomorrow night, what do you got going on?
Guys, I'm sorry. I never got a poll up, so I may end up having to make an executive decision for the Monday night at the movies. And one movie that's been bouncing around in chats this week was Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, Face Off. So I might be
Face
pulling
Off.
that one. I've never seen it myself, so I may just pull that one out for you guys tomorrow night. Members, I hope you could join me for that. Of course, all week long, I'm doing Liquid Lunch. Take a break in the middle of your day and come chat with me and have a drink.
That was
Tuesday.
that was the summer blockbuster of the year came out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Tuesday.
We have Live from Sparkwood 21. We are starting up the rewatch again, folks, with part 1 of Fire Walk with Me. We're starting right from the beginning. So come join us for that, followed thereafter by The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. You guys have been enjoying that. I hope you enjoy it again. Thursday, Netter, you have a guest on Thursday?
I do.
And you're drawing a blank on who that guest is. She's got to go and check her stream.
I'm not
I also got her in the middle of she was just about to take a sip of her tea.
Yeah, you bastard.
I know, I'm an asshole.
Storyman Jack.
Storyman Jack, that's right.
But before that, at 8 o'clock Central, for members only, we will be having our members only trivia night.
There you
and
go.
that'll go from 8 Central to 9 Central. That will then flow into Thursday things with Storyman Jack as my special guest.
There you go. Friday night, what are we doing on Friday night?
Thought we were doing the karaoke. Or are you saving
I think
that?
we will. I think we will be
Okay.
doing the karaoke stream this week. So let's all get together and do some singing. We'll start out here on the YouTubes, and then we'll move over to the platform of freedom, the Green Machine. Saturday over on Netter's Network, we will be watching Green Mile. The Green Mile. Yeah, it wasn't Green Card again. And that brings us full circle. So
You're not going to do
here.
You're not going to do the Green Hornet with Seth Rogen?
F no.
It was so bad. It was so bad. All right, y'all. You have a good week, and we'll have some interesting stuff to talk about next week, including a new vampire movie that I saw a trailer for, which might be interesting. So I'm not going to say anything more about that till next week. Catch you later.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.